This is a military museum in Vincennes, India, to all the veterans that served from Knox County. You look at the panoramic view. They've been working on this museum for the last 2 years, and this is their new site. The other site was on the outskirts of the city. Been there for many, many years. There's over 200 volunteers that have helped create this museum, and you see a bunker, a pillbox that looks like World War II at D-Day in Normandy. It's a simulation of the pillbox. Multiple other artifacts from World War II era and other types of eras in our military history. Most of these machines on the outside are working machines. Very few museums have working machines, but many of these tanks and jeeps are of working quality. The military museum will be open for guests as of tomorrow, September 8th, 2000. You see the different artifacts, many of them from local areas, local warriors, and the displays are just fabulous. There are more military uniforms here in this museum than any place in the United States except West Point. Jim has been collecting these over many, many years. We have wars of different eras. This is a westward expansion, American Revolution, pre-Civil War, 1776 to 1861. Many different artifacts from that time period. A movie going over the construction of some of the military artifacts and some of the movement of some of these artifacts to this museum. See, this is the American Civil War, war between the states. You see many different artifacts in this little display. The Union uniform and the uniform worn by the South, and a small drum, old binoculars, and an old train station during that era. Civil War, other arms. You see the people of the Union soldiers lined up, the different types of guns used during this time, bayonets, and some of the different clothing they used during that era. Infantry, 14th Infantry, number 43A. This is Civil War cannon and ordnance. I look at the percussion fuses and the exact mechanism of how these work, and how this shrapnel seemed to injure different individuals during the war. The cannonball used a lot during the Civil War, and a big way of offense for both the South and the North during that time. It's a tremendously descriptive display. The Civil War Medal of Honor given to Peter Bame, photo of him and Peter Martin Bame, some of his descriptions, some of his medals. The War Department, written to Captain Peter Bame, written, it says December 12th, 1898. Look at the Grand Army of the Republic. These are reservists of all the Civil War from the veterans, and we now call them different. We call them veterans of World War I, veterans of World War II. The last living person from the Civil War that was in the GA Grand Army of the Republic was early part of the 20th century. But these uniforms are very common because we had so many soldiers that were involved in the Civil War. This is Black Hills Indian War, Great Sioux War, and these are, you see the horseshoes, you see the uniform, and you see the little hat, and this is another regiment, members of the 159th Camp. This is Spanish-American War of 1898, represented here as well. War, Teddy Roosevelt was in that war down in Havana. And this is the uniform used at that time. And this is some of the types of weapons that were used during that war. This is national encampment, United States War veterans. And this is the Spanish-American War, a veteran poster from that period of time. And this was Charles D. McCoy, Camp 24, from Vincennes. Many of these artifacts are from Vincennes people themselves. It makes it very much more personal museum. This is a World War I, some information and uniform, the helmet. There's a bayonet. Some of the problems they had in World War I, disease. The trenches in World War I were difficult. This is some of the areas that part of the uniform they wore. Their knees and legs were protect them with when they're in the horses. This is trench warfare, was very difficult. A lot of scabies, a lot of different medical problems. Had nurses that went over to try to help some of the medical problems. This is some of the toxic warfare and some of the spears that were used with all the barbs. Great example of chemical weapons that even started in World War I. Lots of chemical weapons were used in World War II. This again here, this is uniforms from the fate of the Lusitania, and that's the ship Lusitania back in 1913, 1914, but the sinking of that ship precipitated some of the anger we had, and part of the stimulus for us to enter the World War I era. And there's the first soldiers that were lost in World War I, and you see the person on the right, Gresham, and he was from Evansville, Indiana. This one, the U.S. soldiers in World War I. You see the U.S. soldier in World War I. You see the General World War I, General Pershing. His car is actually in Evansville, Indiana. General Pershing is owned by a person in Evansville. This is General Pershing, and lots of artifacts from him, and some of these warfare in the World War I era, and the early use of the airplane at that time. World War I uniform. My grandfather had a uniform just like that. World War I. Lots of men entered that war, and then in 1918. Some other winter uniform during that period of time. You see the different types of warfare and some of the different helmets used by the different by the opponents in World War II. Machine gun, 45th Infantry, and you see the chronology of this excellent. Actually, this is 1918 over in the African area, but you see the chronology in this museum that's just excellent. Roll roster. This is another great part of the World War I era. You see a statue here, World War I soldier, and then some of the uniforms were the dress uniforms used during that time. Then they have, again, the movie here. There's General Patton, symbolizing World War II. Then the uniforms looking a little bit more like they are today. There's U.S. Coast Guard, and there's a Navy uniform, large bomb there. Here's some more uniforms. World War begins World War II, 1939 to 40, and some of the uniforms you see they have displayed here. Remember, more uniforms here than anywhere except West Point, which is a tremendous collection for Vincennes, Indiana. Some of the armor and warfare well displayed. It takes a lot of time to go through this. Then we enter World War II, shows the Pearl Harbor, the bombing of Pearl Harbor, and the different newspapers and the planes that precipitated the United States entry into World War II. And there's Admiral Kimmel. He's from a local area, from Henderson, Indiana, or Henderson, Kentucky, and he was considered a little bit of the scapegoat, but he was a famous admiral from Henderson, and he had to watch during World War II, and it was a difficult time for him at that time. So a lot of local people actually here. Some artifacts of Pershing, and then you have Kimmel. Here's Doolittle's raid that happened on Japan back in April 18th, 1842. Those men dropped the bombs in Japan, and then they had nowhere to go, and they ended up landing in China. So this is a picture of Doolittle's raid, and these are some of the uniforms that some of these men wore. There's John Cooper, youngest aviator. Some of these aviators knew when they went on that mission. And you see the mission when they had to land in China for safety. Here's the Iwo Jima, very famous flag. 7 different Americans raising that flag, and the force that tide changed in the Pacific during that period of time. The counterattack that we in the mid-40s or 1945 with the Iwo Jima. And you see the Marine Corps uniform here, some of the machine guns and guns used during that period of time. There's the Russian Army uniform, artifacts from some of the Russian uniforms, a hand grenade. You see the guns. Here's the Navy uniform, the U.S. Navy. You see some of the guns that were used during that period of time. U.S. submarine warfare became big in World War II. Some of the diving and other aspects in there. You see the fins, and there's the large guns. There's a whole display of guns, World War II artifacts. You see the different types of guns that have been used in that war. Just an amazing display of the different guns that were used at that time. D-Day invasion, December 6, 1944. One of the biggest invasions in history. Second biggest invasion, or the even bigger invasion, was the invasion of Japan on Easter Sunday in 1945. But D-Day was a timed event. We had a break in weather, and because of the break in weather, we were lucky enough to keep our stronghold there. If you look, those are LSTs made, 167 those made in 50 miles south here in Evansville, Indiana, and they were the transporter to get the large machinery up on the shore. And we lost over 5,000 men during that invasion of Normandy at that time, but we were able to keep it strong. When you see the radios, you see Ike Eisenhower. He was the commander-in-chief of the European invasion at that time. General Gavin, you look at the excellent display, you see all the stars there, a 2-star general there. Where over here you see Ike, he's a 4-star general. General Gavin here, a 2-star general. And you see all the different artifacts from World War II. You see some of the German artifacts. You see all the German language there, German boots, German uniform, and German canteens, and holster for the bullets. You see here some German artifacts of the German plane, Luftschutz, and you see aircraft carrier with the planes, a large camera here, camera artifacts to help spot the enemies and decipher what was going on in the foreign shores. Memphis Belle there, and here you see the war bonds, a big thing of encouraging the troops, and there was the whole nation was behind us in World War II. You see a lot of the things that would help the spirit for morale, tremendous morale boosters, and this was all over the United States, these types of morale boosters to buy war bonds. And there you see a Rosie River. Rosie River became famous, making the P-47 and other airplanes. You see her as a riveter, and on the other side there was usually another woman that would help. There's some experts at University of Evansville and Rosie the Riveter, and this is a famous thing for one to be a Rosie Riveter. There's the goggles they would use, and they became welders for some of the shoes and some of the other artifacts, and there's one of the welding machines. Then here's some more of the banners that were all around the United States. You see these different banners that helped us keep our spirit strong during this period of time. Remember, it was a time when we thought that Japan and Germany and Italy would overthrow the United States, and there was a lot of fear in the United States people. But these things were major help in our morale and helped our troops' morale. There it is in France when we finally took over France after D-Day. Many months later, took over France, the Champs, and you see that there's a photograph over there in Europe. There's MacArthur taking over. He said, "I will return." It's a famous photograph. You have a Philippine general, and you have other famous generals when they recaptured the Philippines after he'd been moved out after the March of Bataan. Iwo Jima Sand, General James Van Fleet. You see all these propaganda, all these banners, tremendous collection here, tremendous collection. There's a tomahawk, just a tremendous collection of things that you're never going to get this in very many museums. Machine gun here, bomb, all these Jeeps, these are used on top of the LSTs and anti-aircraft to help protect the ships. You see all the Jeeps here, the Jeeps in display. Here's another bomb and a carrier for the bomb. You see the different Jeeps and the tanks. You even have a Japanese tank at the far end. You see how small it is, much smaller than any American tank, and the gun on the front is very much smaller. Did not meet up to any of the expectations of American tanks, German tanks, or Russian tanks. USA motorcycle with a little side. This is what the museum looked like, but this is the artist's conception of the museum, that these people worked day and night for the last year to make this happen. Absolutely a fabulous piece of work. And even got the enemy side here. You have lots of Adolf Hitler's picture of Adolf Hitler in Time magazine. This was I don't know what year, I guess the 1940s. Looks like 1943, but have a red X over it. Some of the uniforms here. Eva Braun silverware. That was his mistress, and actually her best friend was a lady. There was a book written about it from Valhalla. She spent time in Evans, Indiana, and was a spy. A good friend of Eve was a spy for the LST factories in Evansville. There's one of the big cathedrals that did survive. See, Tokyo atomic bombs caused great devastation. See the you see the Hiroshima after the bomb on August 6, 1945, and there's the bomber before she left. There's Big Boy, or Fat Boy, and Big Boy, I think, the two names of the bombs. And these are the pictures of those the bomber that carried the bomb that stopped the war. And there's the V-Day. This is the signing of on the Big Mo, signing of the treaty in World War II in September 1945. Korean War, then 1953. They have every war represented. And here's some of the cold weather was just such a problem up there. The Chosin Reservoir is famous for how cold it was, sometimes 30 degrees below Chosin Reservoir. Koreans outnumbered with the help of the Chinese 10-1, and the Americans, the Marines, survived. This is a tremendous fight of the elements. Even with everything we had, the elements can sometimes be more formidable. More modern type of uniform here with the different display of different uniforms. Fabulous display of uniforms. Fabulous. Two-way radio. You see the four-star general here, Lieutenant General William Yarborough, United States Army, retired. This was a Vietnam era. You see Westmoreland. Westmoreland, a famous general during that time. There's starts with an R, Secretary of War at that time. There's JFK meeting with one of his troops. There's some of the more fancier uniforms. And Lieutenant William Yarborough, May 12th to December of 2005. Lieutenant General. Entry into Vietnam. So the entry in, you see where the elements again with guerrilla warfare. You see the use of the helicopter became much more famous as opposed to just parachuting in. We used helicopters. They became famous during that era of the war. See the different guns, different Army uniforms. There's Westmoreland. Oh my gosh, that's the commander-in-chief in the Vietnam War. You see the 4 stars there. Williamson, the 2-star. Amazing set of uniforms. There's Westmoreland. He was the big boss during that period of time. Ellis Williamson, his uniform at the time. And there's the boots. Another picture of Westmoreland. Pictures of Sergeant Sammy Davis, United States Army. Citation. See his uniform. Sammy's Medal of Honor, Martinsville, Indiana. Local boy. Congressional Medal of Honor. Destroyer, you see pictures with him during the Vietnam era. And then see some of the warfare over there using those these types of guns that would shoot the projectile, and they would monitor to see where the projectile went, and they would use that. It was used in World War II and used commonly in the Vietnam era. Mission to Panama, 1989, and there's a Panamanian general. Gulf War. This war I actually participated in. The Gulf War. It was we were in 1990. Desert Sand and then Desert Storm, and overtook Kuwait with President Bush and Schwarzkopf. Our General Schwarzkopf was in charge, the general at that time. And there's the medal that's called the Persian Gulf War Medal. Then later on, into Kuwait, so Army Shimling, and the Kuwaiti War. There was General Colin Powell during this time. There's Saddam Hussein, who was the one that precipitated that war. Again, then U.S. Army, and again, Franks, the U.S. Army. This is a more recent time. Admiral or General Franks, who was in charge of that war in Operation Iraqi Freedom, October 03 to February of 04. General Pace, 4-star general. Pictures, boots, and uniform. Then one of our last wars here, and you see uniforms. Amazing piece of just absolutely amazing. Bikes they used in World War II, all these different. This is the back of the museum. See the roof, lots of storage in this area. Storage, and you look at the nice area they've got to grow and to have displays and have reenactments. See all the military, small tank, small cannons, and the old glass factory that they're using, and boarded up the windows just for safety and security. Fabulous piece of storage garage, place for display, place for storing new items that they've acquired, and repairing old items and refurbishing items that need to be refurbished. Large pole barn, but will service a lot of storage for all the artifacts they have. Boats used in World War II, helped on the invasion of Normandy. Very important to have an amphibious attack. This is another type of duck boat, has another name, has treads to help it get up in the get up on shore. Problem with high seas can be problems for it. So with all the heaviness of a tank and the lead around it is a partial problem for heavy seas. This is a World War II tank, This was brought ashore by LST in World War II. Some of these Sherman tanks in the U.S. were refurbished down in Chrysler plant in Evansville, Indiana. On the bottom were refurbished, and these tanks were used for practice in the United States after they were used overseas, and they brought back here for refurbishment, and also the practice tanks were used the same. Trucks, Chrysler, Ford, General Motors, lots of trucks with flatbeds like that in the back to carry troops. Another type of, it says a recon runner, a tank to help protect the men inside, and had armor around it. Tank for World War II. You look at the grousers, how heavy those grousers are, and to help get in ground that was partially muddy. Another truck with the grousers on the back, small type of tank with wheels, and then you see several cannons there. Big spotlight for night warfare. See the large Russian tank over there, and then the other different jets that warfare changed at the end of World War II with jet warfare, and was markedly different in the Korean War and Vietnam War with the jet warfare. Missile that became famous for protecting, a guided missile that allowed us to have warfare without a loss of lives, helped in the Persian Gulf War and many wars since, so it can annihilate the different radar stations and affect the eyes and ears of the enemy. Large plane, World War II vintage. It's like the type of plane Eisenhower used, except he had a four-proper during his presidential career. He had a four-prop plane to talk him around different places. Two-prop plane here, and there's the pillbox, recreated pillbox. You see the guns coming out of the pillbox, small windows there, concrete fortified ammunition below, and that's what the Germans used in Normandy to try to protect against the troops coming up from down south. And this is this is a panoramic view of this museum. Fabulous creation by the city of Vincennes and volunteers. Pillbox again, pillbox, and you see the creation of these cannons. You see the cannons, all the different armor is needed for effective war. You see the museum, closed windows. This used to be the old glass factory in Vincennes, and it's now changed to a war museum. Indiana War Museum, probably the best museum in Indiana, and one of the better ones in the country at this time. This is the entrance to the World War II Museum, or the War Museum in Vincennes. It's a panoramic view, and this is the entranceway. George Rogers Clark Memorial is only about a quarter-mile down the road. It's in the center of Vincennes. Another view from the front entrance of this museum as the public will come and view this museum over the next century because of the creation of a lot of hard workers from Vincennes.